I have a question, Stuart. It's Irene.
What's Henry?
Could you explain or describe the Soham breathing, please?
Yes. Soham is a mantra, and the purpose of it is well, it has a number of purposes. First of all, it really relaxes a person very deep inside, calms the mind, opens the heart. But more importantly, translating Soham into English, Soham is Sanskrit. So means I am. Hum, that, or one with God. And if you listen to your breathing while you're doing that internal mantra, the breathing itself becomes so hum. So every time you inhale, you take in literally the totality of life. So is I am. Every time you exhale, you're letting go of a part of yourself. You're surrendering in a very deep place. So the purpose of it is multifold. The first is just to relax, to get the mind quiet. Very good exercise to do right before meditation class. It will quiet the mind, it'll get you relaxed. And the second and more important purpose is to recognize that everybody truly on earth is breathing. I mean, nobody can live for, 2 minutes if they don't breathe. Breath is like prayer. Every time you inhale, you take in I am. Every time you exhale, you surrender that, to the oneness with God. So it's a very sacred mantra, and it can be used certainly before meditation. It's a very good time to use it. It will relax you, it'll prepare you to go into the class, and you'll begin to, get that sensation of inhaling life and how sacred breath is, and it is the very energy of breathing is what gives us life. So Soham is really important. I mean, I learned it from Rudy, and when I discovered the translation of that mantra, it's extraordinary. I am that. I am one with everything. Used consciously, it will just help you go much deeper inside yourself when you meditate. And as I say, a very good time to use it is before the meditation. It'll relax you, it'll get you open, it'll, open the heart chakra, it'll quiet the mind. And then through the practice of it, you begin to learn the sacred nature of breath. Breath is life, and it's sacred. And used consciously, it will develop the chakras, help to develop the chakra system. It'll prepare you for deep meditation like we practice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask? I mean, the very thought of inhaling, every time you inhale, you take in the totality of life. To be able to use that energy to develop the chakra system is absolutely essential in what we do. The breath is a very, very important part of it. You got to embrace life. And as I always say, the greatest teacher is life. And when we learn to use the breath consciously, we begin to embrace the greatest teacher. The energy of life will expand the heart chakra, it'll expand the chakra below the navel, it'll quiet the mind, it'll open us to receive knowledge, wisdom. It's kind of wonderful when I discovered, a couple of years ago, that life is the guru, not Stuart, not Rudy, not Swami, this one or that one. My job is to just train everybody so that you can sit in front of the real guru, which is life. My job is to be a vehicle through which Shakti can flow so that each and every person that attends this class, can develop a chakra system that will enable them to embrace the real guru, life. And you're not going to be able to embrace life with a closed heart, with a mind that's not open, that's yakking all the time. And, you have to be in a state of, stillness inside. Does anyone else have a question you'd like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
In a recent blog post, you wrote that a need to have a spiritual life must supersede all needs of a material nature. Could you expand on that?
Can you repeat that, please?
A need to have a spiritual life must supersede all needs of a material nature.
What must I know that what it must supersede was?
Must supersede all needs of a material nature.
Well, it's true. I mean, look, that is the primary reason why the soul incarnates on the earth. To develop, a spiritual life, to become one with God, to be able to transform all the suffering, the pain, the difficulty of life into an open heart, into love, into happiness, and to become a child of God. It's here to learn that. And everything else, the material world, the mental world, it all, is transitory. It's transient. Comes and it goes and and we have to be able to penetrate through that morass of transient energy in order to tap a place deep enough in ourselves that connects us to what's infinite in the universe. That can only come about if, one really has a need to have a spiritual life. Without that need, I mean, if people on this ridiculous planet would have as much of a need to have a spiritual life as they have to make money, we might have, we might return to some kind of paradise on earth. But it's not going to happen because every soul that exists in this world, is on its own level and has to learn whatever it's here to learn. And one of the most important things is how to be free of material things. It's to have them and to be free of them, not to let them have you. So that need, that primary need to have a spiritual life, it will nurture every other area of your life. It'll also nurture the material plane in your life. At the same time, it'll give you the strength not to be trapped by the material plane of life. Not to superimpose the need to make money and success for a spiritual life. And yet, at the same time, money, success, it all comes. If you need that in this incarnation in order to get free, you need to work through that. It will all come. If you don't need it, it won't come. It doesn't mean you can't have a spiritual life. So the primary need in every human being should be to develop a system inside themselves that gives them the internal strength to connect with higher energy in the universe. And to be able to sustain that connection, that whole thing is possible because we use the tools we're born with to develop a chakra system that enables us to do that. Then there's all that overflow of energy with success and money and this and that and the other and the other. And we can have it, but we're not attached to it. It just provides, better way to live, a more lush way to live, but we're not attached to it. Because one day a human being becomes conscious of the fact that everything that's transient is just going to go anyway. The only thing that's permanent is infinite energy in the universe. And we substitute impermanence for that. We freak out about money problems and this and, relationship problems. And, something something I learned a long time ago, but it was made very clear to me this week. When people go through difficult, situations with their family, with their friends, they most of them just disappear from the meditation class. They have some image in their brain that thinks that they have to be perfect in order to come here. And probably when they're in the most vulnerable state, when they're dealing with people's illness and this and that, they need this class more than than anything else to get the energy in order to be able to deal with all these other things without these things draining us dry. As I said to somebody yesterday, an automobile, it runs out of gas, it stops running. People run out of gas and they work on tension. That's what runs their life, tension. When they run out of, the spiritual gas, they got to go to the filling station. They got to replenish their vehicle, their machine, their car, their soul, their chakra system has to be replenished. And that's what these classes are for. So that when we have to deal with difficult situations, they don't drain us of our life. They don't take everything away from us. We can deal with them. We can be detached from them. And it makes us bring a much deeper sense of spirituality to other human beings. And that is that need that supersedes everything. And once you get a taste of God, man, you have no trouble connecting with that need to have a spiritual life. And you discover it doesn't take anything else away from you. It just adds, makes life that much richer. Every moment becomes more sacred. Everything that you touch, smell, taste becomes that much more sacred. Because you recognize it as it's a manifestation of spirit, of God. And yet most of this world functions exactly the opposite. who's right, who knows better, understand, who has power, who have, money, billions, the people have become. I mean, how can somebody in their right mind think they need $150 billion in order to get up in the morning? It's insane. It's insane. It's like insane. Because the only thing you can do with so much money, you know what it is? You can only make more money. That's it. There's nothing else you can do with it. So the primary need is the greatest treasure of all that we can have in this life is an open heart. Love, happiness, joy is the greatest treasure. And it turns everything around us into something sacred, something precious, something to be respected. And that comes when your primary need is to have a spiritual life. And then it's not just the need, you do the work to get yourself open to be able to live that way. And there are no excuses. You just do it, No excuses. And it will provide everything a human being needs to work out their karma. Everything. The good, the bad, the indifferent, the ugly, the wonderful, the joyous, everything it provides. What we need to work out our karma. That teaches us how to keep going deeper inside ourselves. Does anyone else have a question? Would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Bob. Very good question. Both questions, very good. I like these questions. They really demand a deep opening inside. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, there'll be meditation on Wednesday. Today's Monday, right? I don't even know anymore what the day is. Okay, good. There'll be meditation on Wednesday. And, God bless you all. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you. It's very precious to have so many wonderful people in my life. I mean that. So God bless every one of you, and looking forward to seeing you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Good
welcome.
night.
Good night.
Good night.